Hello, the device that I'm going to review today is the EasyC Large Print Keyboard. This device allows students with vision or motor impairments to access computers in a class or home setting. The key symbols are larger than the average keyboard, and there are also a variety of color combinations that can be chosen from, so that allows for users to pick the color contrast that best suits them. This color contrast is especially important for students with visual impairments because some students can see one color contrast or combination better than another. One color, there are a couple color combinations that I have found, um, and one is white print on black keys with a black board. Another is black print on white keys on a black board. Another is black print on yellow keys on a black board. The eSpecial Needs site also offers a keyboard with black print on white keys with a whiteboard. But I wasn't able to find a picture of it on the site to show to you all. There is also the H21 EasyC keyboard, and that offers a color-coded board where keys are separated by color, so the one row could be one color, the punctuation could be another, the home row could be another. So this would be useful for students with learning disabilities, or those who are learning to type, because it allows you to differentiate between the rows of the keyboard easier. To obtain this type of keyboard, it's fairly easy to do. You can purchase it via the internet, and I'm sure there are stores that do sell this. Sites like Amazon, eBay, half.com, different sites like that offer it, as well as sites that cater to students with disabilities specifically. Sites such as eSpecial Needs and Able Data offer methods of purchasing this device, as well as many other devices that meet your specific needs. It's a reasonably priced product, and on eSpecial Needs I found it starting around $26, but not much up from there. If you go to sites like Amazon and eBay, you can find it for, lower prices. I saw one on eBay for about $19. And to use this device, you just need to be able to plug it into the computer. So this would allow you to use it with any computer that is already owned, meaning you don't have to purchase a whole new system in order to use this product, or system for it, within itself. It is compatible with PCs, and you plug it in just like you would a regular keyboard. You just plug it right into the USB port. As far as skills needed to operate this device, again, as long as the students and the parent and the teacher know how to plug in a device into the USB port, you're good to go. As far as operation goes, it doesn't vary too much from the average keyboard. You just have kind of larger print, etc. And some of the function keys up top look a little differently. They're circles rather than the squares, as far as I can see. As long as the student already knows how to type, it should be a fairly easy transition from an average keyboard over to the EasyC keyboard. If the student doesn't know how to type because they couldn't use the smaller keyboard, or there was some other, they haven't gotten to that point in their schooling, then this is also a good keyboard to learn how to type on. Because you do have the larger keys, you can get the color-coded keyboard, which allows you to, look at the different rows and separate them out easier. And there are many pros and cons to using this type of device. One pro is that this device allows students with visual or motor impairments the same opportunities to interact with class materials and assignments, whereas things like essay writing via typing would have been difficult in the past. With the high contrast keys and the larger print, it makes the job of typing easier. It's less likely that, your hand will cramp when you're typing because you are able to spread it out a little bit more. Another pro is that this device allows students with visual or motor impairments the ability to communicate with the world via various electronic formats. Things like email and social media are just a few areas in which people communicate on a daily basis. And with the keyboard, they don't have to wait for somebody to help them type it up or put it off because they get frustrated when they try to type it up on a regular keyboard. And a third pro is that the fact it can be used in and out of school. It's not just, one context specific. It can be brought to a computer lab or hooked up to a classroom computer. And it's affordable, so school districts or families are able to purchase it, easier than they would be another device. Now, with every device, there are pros, but there are also the cons. One con for the EZC keyboard is that it isn't the most portable of devices. It can be carried around, but not as easily as, say, a foldable keyboard or a tablet or, what have you. But it still is a good device to have. Another con is that it only helps a very narrow scope of students, which they are just as important as everyone else. But if a student has a disability that restricts their motion further or to a more extreme extent, the larger keys won't be enough to help them access the computer. In that case, though, the IEP team would need to come up with, another assistive technology that can be used that would allow them to access the computer. And a third con is that if you want to use them in school and at home, but you don't want to carry or transport the keyboard because, it adds extra wear and tear on it, you don't feel like carrying it around, a couple keyboards would need to be purchased in order um, to have them available in many different spaces. But overall, this device does allow students with visual and motor impairments to have, to complete different assignments. Many assignments are done via the computer nowadays. Everything from blog posts to emails to, essays can be done via the computer. And by allowing them to have this access, you're giving them the freedom to complete their classwork and their homework individually, which that sense of independence is definitely important for students to experience and to have, because you're giving them the same access to the materials as everybody else. And just because they have a visual or motor impairment doesn't mean they shouldn't be, or shouldn't have the opportunity to access the materials. And there's no real skill needed to learn how to use it. Even if you can't type using, your home keys, you can do the hunt and peck, and it's still a viable method for typing up things. And if you combine it with other softwares, like word prediction, things like that, you can optimize what you're using it for. So it can be used in conjunction with other apps and other software programs, which makes it nice because if you can use a normal keyboard with a program, you would be able to use this keyboard with it. So having this device in your classroom is a fairly out of the way thing to have. It doesn't really draw attention to the student because they're typing things up just like everybody else. Other students can use the keyboard even if they don't have these visual or motor impairments, if they just like having the bigger spaces in which to rest their hands. So it's good if you have bigger hands, because it's not as cramped up. So I would definitely recommend this device, and I would definitely consider it for future practice, because if this is what it will take to get a student to access the materials, to participate, and to immerse themselves in the activities, then I would definitely use it. and would suggest it to an IEP team if the opportunity came up and if that's the technology that was being considered. So I thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful week.